Good afternoon, everyone. It is Monday, June 22nd. My name is Sally Zaleski, Executive Office Manager for South Carolina Citizens for Life, and I'd like to welcome you to our weekly Proudly Pro-Life webcast. Today, our special guest is Kathy Schmugge. She is the Director of Family Life with the Catholic Diocese of Charleston, and she is currently also working on her doctoral degree in bioethics. So Kathy's going to talk to us today about post-abortion healing ministry, as well as a few other things that come up throughout the interview. So I'd like to welcome Kathy, and Holly Gatling will be kicking off the interview today.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Proudly Pro-Life South Carolina Citizens for Life webcast. I am just thrilled to have Kathy Schmugge here. I've known Kathy for a long time. I believe I met you, Kathy, when you were a reporter for the Catholic Banner, which has since gone back to its original name, the Catholic Miscellany. And you won a National Writing Award that was presented to you by the National Right to Life Committee at one of the marches and rallies. Is my memory good on that?
Yes, indeed. I wrote on Wayne Cockfield, and I would have to say that anybody that would write his story would get recognized because the story itself is incredible. So it was actually a great surprise, but a great honor to be able to hear his story and be able to report it.
And he has been on the show a couple of 3 weeks ago. So since your days as a reporter for the Catholic newspaper, you have taken on more and more responsibilities with the diocese, and now you are the full-time director of the Office of Family Life. So give us a little rundown on what the Office of Family Life does, and then we'll talk specifically about things that are directly connected to the pro-life movement.
I'd be happy to tell you a little bit about it. Our structure, and you will find that it will differ from diocese to diocese, but in our diocese, we have family life and respect life all in the same department. And I think that there's a great wisdom in that, because you don't ever want to take the child out of the context of the family. So this helps us unite this idea together of family and life being in one. And there's many things, because it involves both family and life, there are many things that fall under our umbrella. And so it would be marriage prep, it would be also marriage enrichment, natural family planning, which I'm happy to say Sally Zaleski is one of our practitioners and helps teach the method, and we're so blessed to have her and so many of our other practitioners. We also do things for the, in terms of the life issues. We do beginning of life, end of life. We've done workshops, we've done some consulting. Because of my bioethics background, have been able to help people who are dealing with difficult decision-making at end of life, and sort of everything in between. One of our recent projects, we actually got involved in doing some pastoral healing work with those who suffered abuse. And that is still ongoing, but that was just something we knew that it was affecting family and family life. And so we got involved in that too. So as you can see, we have many things under us, but that we enjoy trying to integrate them as well. And that's the power of it all being in one office.
And so you wear many hats. I would like you to tell us a little bit about post-abortion healing ministries. And we're also going to
Holly, I think we got you muted. So, didn't.
Okay. Sally, I hit the unmute. How did it mute?
I really
Well, never
am
mind.
not sure, but anyway, let's continue.
Okay, very good. All right, so back to you, Kathy.
Okay, so I'd be very happy to speak about our post-abortion healing ministry. Actually, when I first took on the job of working in the diocese in family life, it was one of the very first things that I wanted to resurrect. We had done some work in it, but it had kind of fallen off the radar. So to make it front and center. And so I worked with a very dear friend, Dr. Martha Shuping, who is a psychiatrist in North Carolina, to bring forward Rachel's Vineyard program. And it's the primary feature of Rachel's Vineyard is the weekend retreat, but there is so much follow-up, continual dialogue with those who've attended the retreat, and then certainly a lot of build up and encouragement to get someone to attend the weekend. So it's a full support system of someone who comes with the wound of abortion and needing healing, and they know that Rachel's Vineyard is a safe place to go. One of the questions that I get often is it just for Catholics? And I would say that we're probably half and half at any retreat, half Catholic, half people who are of all different faiths, actually. And it has benefited them greatly. And so we're just happy that we're able to offer it. We've been offering it for so many years now. I think it's been maybe on 20 years or coming near 20 years. And one of the things that it certainly has done for the pro-life community and the Respect Life coordinators as well is an understanding of how much abortion hurts the woman and the men, because our retreats are for men and women, but actually recognizing the wound, particularly of the mother, but also fathers to come. And that's been just a great awareness to all of our people. One of the very nice things that happen on retreat is that when I talk about collaborative working, is your office, South Carolina Citizens for Life, often provide us with people who need the retreat and put the information out about our retreat. Even giving me the opportunity to talk about it now is so important, because so many people are unaware that there is a ministry where you can heal, and that you're recognized that it is a wound and you're not judged for what is done, that you're helped forgive others, forgive yourself, and to work through that healing. And what I often tell people when I get a call is I reassure them, I've been doing these retreats and been on team for a number of years. Our coordinator is Christy Brown, who is amazing. She makes the retreat run so smoothly. She's so organized and does such a fantastic job. And I do want to do a shout out to her for her work, but that it's just been a blessing to get our Respect Life coordinators at the parish. They actually help by providing food. So they're behind the scenes. We have prayer warriors that pray the entire weekend. We have assistants with the little hospitality pieces that go in the weekend. And of course, the parish is also advertising the weekend so that we can get the word out to people. And one thing that I just feel compelled to say is that often we have retreatants that may have looked at a bulletin announcement for 5 years and then finally are able to get the courage to come forward. So I say that because you might be, one of you out there listening right now might say, you know, I keep on saying, oh, I'll do it. That, you know, God calls you at the right time, because it never fails that the group that will show up on a weekend have things in common and often bond so well that they keep up with each other for years to come. There was one retreat at the very beginning that I attended. I was on team, and I still meet with the individual. She's in a different state, but we meet every year around Christmas time, and we've been doing that for about 15 years. So you make these lasting friendships through the weekend.
I've heard from many, many women who are post-aborted, that never a day goes by that they don't think about that baby. And that with the Rachel's Vineyard, with the healing ministry, they have been able to basically forgive themselves. And that's been the real issue with so many of these women. And you also find that you have so many women who were pressured into this by parents, by boyfriends, even by husbands, and their lives fall apart after the abortion, and they can't even identify why their lives fall apart until they come into this healing aspect that the church offers, basically that Christians offer. So thank you for that explanation, Kathy, and tell us some more about what the Office of Family Life does to help women. One of the things that really annoys me is the accusation that pro-lifers are nothing but pro-birth. You don't care about the baby. You don't care about the mother after the baby's born. This is so, it's wrong, it's hostile, it's evil, and you hear it from Catholics. So go ahead and tell us some more about how the Family Life Office supports moms, babies, families, and let's get the truth out there.
I'd be so happy to do that, because that is a definite untruth that gets perpetrated, that all those who are in Respect Life or pro-life, that they don't care about the baby after the baby is born. I can tell you that there's been some very successful models in the diocese that have been used. And even with some of our supporting groups, like we have such a good relationship with our crisis pregnancy centers and Birthright in terms of closing up any hole that or crack that someone might fall through. But in both the diocesan office as well as these crisis pregnancy centers that we work with, the baby could be, the crisis might have happened 2 years ago, the mom calls because something else has come up, and that we all rally and support that family even 2-3 years or whatever after the birth of the child, so we never lose those contacts, and they know that they can come to us. So there's some individual programs that we've taken up, that we've been part of. One is Gabriel's Project. It's been around for years. It started in the state of Texas, but we've adopted and we have it running in a couple of our parishes. And that basically is a parish response to someone who's pregnant in the area, in the local area. So they don't have to be a parishioner, but someone who's pregnant in the local area. And the church nearby rallies, and whatever her needs might be, we respond to it. So if it's clothing, we put it in the bulletin, and then believe me, everything comes in. We will quickly fill our office with items. So whatever the needs might be. And then sometimes I always feel like this is when I know God is working. I'll have an individual call the office and say, you know, we have a bunch of baby stuff we want to give away. Would you take it? And you know, there's always this concern, like, oh, do we have room? But no sooner do we say, yes, we'll take it, that I get a call that there's a mom that needs this, that, and the other, and we have it all. It's just like God makes that connection. So we like to work with, we do like to work with our Catholic charities as well. There's been a number of times that my office might get the call of a mom that's in trouble, that wants to have the child, but is got all kinds of issues and difficulties, that the Catholic charities and I will work together to make sure that the mom is getting the proper counseling, that we are made aware of any programs that will be helpful to her that's in her region or her area. But one of my favorite stories was one of our parishes in the Charleston deanery who basically took on a young woman, 21 years old, pregnant. We got word of her actually from another mom we helped 5 years ago, who gave us the name and said she saw her and her boyfriend out on the street. They were homeless. They'd been evicted from a hotel that they'd been staying in long term for not paying. And this parish took them under their wings. They got them a car. They got the boyfriend work, a job, helped him with interviewing skills, and took this family on for, I'd say they're still working with them, and it's been over 2 years. So we do have such generous souls in the pro-life movement. Many of our pro-life leaders have adopted or foster care or even taken in what we call, it's a term, it's called shepherd home, but that's when individuals on their own take a pregnant woman into their home and help her for as long as she needs it to get her on her feet. And there are many unsung heroes who would be angry at me if I gave their names out, but that do this work. So this is, it's been my experience.
Well, and another interesting aspect is this concept of prenatal hospice for mothers and families with an adverse prenatal diagnosis. Now, often an adverse prenatal diagnosis is a mistake, but there are plenty of times when it's not a mistake and the mother is pressured to abort because the baby has a condition that's considered or called incompatible with life. And this is probably one of the least known areas of ministry in the pro-life movement. But will you talk about this? I went to one of your seminars on adverse prenatal diagnosis and prenatal hospice, and it was fascinating. And there were 2 little babies there with all their disabilities. They were just a few months old, but they were there, they were living, they were loved. And, you know, their lives have value simply because they're made in the image of God. So talk about that a little bit for us.
This particular ministry is so close and dear to my heart. I've been blessed, and I say blessed, to be involved in several of the cases directly. And so I have such a deep sense for what the parents go through. We actually work under the umbrella of an international, I think now, a group called Be Not Afraid. And it works directly with parents who receive a poor prenatal diagnosis and help get them peer support, so get them in contact with other moms and dads who have had a similar diagnosis to help them stay informed and basically walk with the family. One of the things that we found through Be Not Afraid and their research is that when you provide the counseling and support, many of the parents will reverse their decisions. So when given a poor prenatal diagnosis, the parents are pressured, and they also think that there's no other alternatives. But when they're given this as an alternative, they reverse their decision making. And for the long run, their overall healing from the loss, if it truly ends up being a lethal diagnosis, which ends up in the death of the child, that they are given the support and the closure that they need versus having to live with feelings of guilt that they were the cause of their child's death by having an abortion, or what they'll call early termination, which is just a euphemism for that. And it's a very difficult situation, but we've been blessed to walk through with several parents. And I can remember this one mom, her child did survive. He had some severe issues internally, but externally he also had some issues. And I remember her holding her baby very close to her chest. And I just, you know, I love children and little ones. And I asked to hold or to see, and she goes, I don't think you'll be able to see, you know, like she was almost afraid that I would reject her child. And it's so interesting because all I could see and all I can report back to you is I saw these beautiful eyes and this smile, and I didn't see any of what the world would call imperfections, because that child was so surrounded by love and acceptance that the joy just came forth. So It's been a very powerful ministry, and when we're able to get in there, it has everlasting impact. One of my favorite, oh, go ahead. I was going to go.
Well, let me just say, I think two of the most prominent advocates for this type of ministry are Karen and Senator Rick Santorum. They had a poor prenatal diagnosis. They were told their child wouldn't live, and I think Bella celebrated her, was it her 11th birthday very recently? And then they had a child who died. That was Gabriel, and Gabriel was born and lived 3 hours, and Senator Santorum baptized him. I'm sorry, I get a little choked up.
Yes.
And we have these, and the Santorums donated a number of copies of Karen's book called Letters to Gabriel. And if anybody who's watching wants a copy of this book, contact our office and we'll mail you a copy of Karen Santorum's Letters to Gabriel. It's a powerful, powerful book and pro-life statement. So, Kathy, what's next on your list?
Well, what I did also want to say a little more about the Be Not Afraid. So our group is called Helping Parents with Difficult Pregnancy, because it opens up for a lot of different issues, poor prenatal diagnosis being one of the main ones. And part of our care is just to see what the parent might need. So in one case, we provided meals. We got a parish involved and they made sure that there were meals. There's been cases where our support was so powerful, and this was someone that was not Catholic, because she and the father were not married. They didn't really want to have anything to do with them, unfortunately. And so when the child passed away, she asked if the Catholic priest would come and be there at the burial. So we had formed really beautiful connections with people that aren't even of our faith. I even have a neighbor who is Mormon who has donated stuff for the poor prenatal diagnosis for our ministry that deals with poor prenatal diagnosis, because she was a mom of loss and wanted to support and knew that I was doing this work. So it has an ecumenical feel to it, and it really makes a huge difference. It's the most, well, they're all powerful in their own way. So I can't say one's more than another, but it is so, so incredible to see, to be able to help somebody through such an enormous and difficult situation, to be able to be of some support. So other things that we're involved in, what I'd love to do is, it is a big office, and I'm going to kind of stay focused on the issues that we deal with that are involved in life. So of course we did talk about the post-abortion ministry, which it has a larger umbrella. So I can just say we call it Project Rachel. So the Rachel's Vineyard retreat is under it, but there's a lot more. Like I say, there's a lot of going back and forth and talking and getting help and support. Sometimes it's even connecting to therapists in the state that are familiar with the wound of abortion and recognize it and help them one-on-one if that's needed. So Project Rachel has many pieces to it, but that the retreat is one of the major outreaches that we do. And again, we have recently expanded it out to those who speak Spanish, and it is just filling to the brim. So we're finding that we've located a need in that community, and it's really been just a huge success. And I'm just so proud again of Christy working with others to make the retreat available in Spanish. The other thing that I wanted to say is, Holly, I've enjoyed working with South Carolina Citizens for Life on the annual march that you've had in the dinner, Proudly Pro-Life, Stand Up for Life. Those have been a wonderful place where we've worked side by side. We've been able to get the youth of the Catholic youth involved in a very particular way, but other youth certainly are there as well. and it's a chance for them to get together and to proclaim the message and to celebrate life, which is what the young people do. A lot of the issues that we deal with are very sad and very serious, but the youth marching with us give us hope, and they show us this deep love and concern for their brothers and sisters, whether born or unborn. So the marches are usually very positive and powerful because of that.
When several years ago, when Senator Santorum was our speaker at the March and Rally, one of the things that he said that really impressed me is why young people are pro-life now is because the first baby picture they have of themselves is their ultrasound that's still on the refrigerator, and they know that they were never a blob of tissue. So young people aren't fooled by the lies of the abortion industry.
I do agree, and I think even that whole concept of the bullying, you know, where someone who is so vulnerable and needs protection, they rally on that vulnerable person, and recognizing that life begins at the moment of conception, recognizing that it is a life in the womb, that they realize how vulnerable that child is at that stage. And so, you know, when also recognizing if we're going to get to a point where we don't recognize the life in the womb, where does it end? Do we also not recognize end of life? People who are elderly, or people who have medical conditions, where does it end? And in that, we have to recognize the dignity of all, made in the image and likeness of God. And they get it because it's kind of common sense, and they see it in a way that it even helps those of us who've been in the movement a long time. They give an energy and a joy that I really love being a part, and to see them make their own signs and participate. So what we've often done, as you know, Holly, is started having even a post rally after the march into the State House, where we will get a speaker and have a mass said. And so we hope to continue that tradition in light of the current situation, hoping that things will be settled in by January and we can have a full-fledged march and rally again.
Well, Kathy Schmugge, this 30 minutes has really flown by. So I'm going to kick it back to Sally, and she will close us out and explain how this will be posted on Facebook and our website for future viewing. Take it away, Kathy. Sally.
Thanks, Holly, and thank you, Kathy. It's been a great interview today. We wish you all the best in everything that you're doing and all your endeavors. You know, we know that God's with you, so thank you for everything that you're doing. For all of our viewers and listeners today, if something that Kathy talked about resonated with you, we'll add her email address. I think it's Kathy K. Schmugge at charlestondiocese.org. It's long, so I'll type it out. You can have it. You can copy and paste it. But maybe, you know, you're feeling called to, you know, get involved with the Project Rachel or the Gabriel Project, being a shepherd home, and then also the Be Not Afraid Project and any other endeavors that Kathy spoke of today. We want you to get involved, and it's just another aspect, another way that you can plug into the pro-life community here in South Carolina. So with that, what will happen is that today's interview will once again be sent out. There's Dolly. Will once again be posted in our e-tree, as well as posted on our website. So if you would like to be able to go back and view it and you're not on Facebook, you will be able to have an opportunity to see it later as well and be able to refer back to it. So without further ado, thank you again, Kathy. And this is a wrap. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.